So I'm going to look at equations in this Show Me lesson, and I'm going to take the equations just to the level that you would need for level 2 common entrance. So there's going to be quite a few examples here. The first one, as you can see, is 3x equals 6. Now obviously we want to know what x will equal. Okay. Now if I ring this 3x here, what does that actually mean? It means 3 times x. So what I'm going to do to both sides is the opposite of 3 times, which is divide by 3. Because if I divide both sides by 3, I get this 1x here that I've already written. So the 3x has been divided by 3. And now I need to divide the 6 by 3 as well, and I get 2. Let's do another example. Let's say we have 5x equals 25. Okay, so what am I going to do to both sides? I'm going to divide both sides by 5. If I divide both sides by 5, I would get x on this side. 5x divided by 5 is 1x. And the other side, 25 divided by 5 is 5. Okay, now let's take it to the next stage. So let's say we have x plus 6 equals 11. Now again, we want the x to be left on its own, so this plus 6 here needs to disappear. So how do I make that plus 6 disappear? Well, I do the opposite again, which will be minus 6. And as always, I need to do that to both sides. So I need to subtract minus 6 from the left-hand side and from the right hand side of the equal sign. So that gives me x, so the plus 6 is gone, and on the right hand side I would have 5. 11 minus 6 is 5. Let's do a similar example on the right hand side here. X minus 7 equals 12. So I want the x to be on its own on that side. So this time I'm going to have to add 7. So in brackets here I would write add 7. Just fit that in. Add 7. So that's going to make this minus 7 disappear. So I'm going to have x on the left. And I need to add 7 to the right as well, so 12 add 7 would be 19. And there's your answer. Okay, next example, 2x minus 4 equals 16. Now, as you can see, we're getting more complicated as we go. Now, in this case, if you think of BIDMAS, we all know what BIDMAS is, we're going to reverse the order. Okay, so the most important thing is the addition and subtraction. So in this case, I want to get rid of this minus 4 here. So, like before, we're going to do the opposite. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. That's our first step. So our next line will be 2x. The minus 4 will disappear. And on the right hand side, I need to add 4 again. So 16 add 4 is 20. Now on the next line, we want the 2x to be 1x. And don't forget, 2x means 2 times x. So I do the opposite. So I'm now going to divide by 2. So that on the left-hand side, I'll just have x, because 2x divided by 2 is just x. And on the right-hand side, 20 divided by 2 is 10. Let's have another example like that. 3x plus 6 equals 21. So again, think of the opposite to BIDMAS. So we want to get rid of this plus 6 here. So the opposite would be minus 6. So that's what we first do to both sides. So I would get 3x equals 15, subtracting 6. And now I would divide by 3. So I would have x equals 5. Okay, an equation that has a bracket in it. Right, so we need to multiply out this bracket first of all. That's the first thing you need to do. So if I multiply out this bracket, I would get 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6, plus 6 equals 15. And now we have an equation similar to the last one. So first thing I will do is subtract 6, so that I have 3x equals 9. Now we divide by 3 on both sides, so we'll have x equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. There are two more types of equations that I want to show you. This is the first type. You'll see the difference here is that we've got x's on both sides of the equation. We've got a 5x on this side and a 2x on this side. Now we don't really want that, we just want x's on one side. So what we need to do is get rid of this 2x here. How would we get rid of that? Well, we would get rid of it by minusing 2x, because then it would disappear. But of course, if we take 2x from the right hand side, we need to take 2x from the left hand side as well. So what we would have left so far is 5x, take away 2x, that would give us 3x there, minus 3, nothing's happened to that so far, so 3 there. The 2x there has disappeared, so we've just got 6 left on that side. Excuse my writing. Okay, now we've got a normal equation, so what do we do next? Well, we're going to add 3 to both sides, so that we would get left with 3x equals 9. And then what would we do? We would divide by 3, so that we get x equals 3. And that's probably as hard as it gets. I'll do one more of those, and then we've got one more type. So let's say we've got 4x plus 4 equals minus x plus 16. Okay, we've got x's both sides again, which we don't want, so we need to get rid of one side. We always get rid of the side that's got the smallest amount of x, that's this one here. Now how are we going to get rid of minus x? Well, this time we are going to add x. Minus x, add x, that will make the x's disappear there. But of course we need to add x to both sides. So the next line would say 5x, because we've added x to it, plus 4 equals, the x's have disappeared, plus 16, don't need to write plus 6, oh dear, 16. Okay, what do we do next? We will minus 4 from both sides, so we have 5x equals 12. Okay, this isn't going to work out very nicely, but we're going to go with it. So what we're going to do now, we're going to divide by 5 on both sides, So x equals, well, 12 divided by 5. That can be cancelled, or it's top heavy at the moment, so it would go to 2. 5 into 12 goes 2, with 2 left over, 5. 2 and 2/5. Right, we've got one more type to do. That is when you get something like x over 4 equals 16. Okay, so what are we going to do to both sides here? Well, on this side here, the x is being divided by 4, so remember we're going to do the opposite. So that means we're going to times by 4. So our next line will be just x equals 16 times 4 is 64. So all I've actually done here is multiply these two numbers. X equals 64, let's have another one of those. X over 3 equals 9. So we're going to times by 3 on both sides, which will give us x equals 27. And again, all I've done is multiply those two numbers. So that was quite a long lesson on equations, but there's quite a few types. It's probably best to have a look at it again and follow through all the equations that I've done.